Hey there. We hope you enjoy this short story. If you do, please consider sharing it with a friend. And if you'd like to stay connected, sign up for our mailing list. The link is in the show description. You'll get behind-the-scenes insights into our stories and be the first to hear what's coming next. You can also join us on your social network. Just search for The Listening Lamp and subscribe and follow. Now, let's begin. The listening lamp flickers to life, illuminating the space between worlds. Here, science whispers to spirit, and reality bends to imagination. Curl up in the cosmic glow as we unveil the extraordinary hidden within the ordinary. The Playground, a short story written by Rob Corrigan, narrated by Christopher McLeod.
It's white, warm, and comfortable beyond imagination. Not the sterile white of hospital walls or the harsh white of fresh paper, but a living white that breathes and pulses with possibility. It fills everything, or perhaps there is no everything to fill. Just this endless, perfect whiteness that cradles me like amniotic fluid, like the space between thoughts, like the moment before dawn breaks. I exist. That much I know, though I don't know how I know it. I have no body to feel with, no eyes to see with, yet somehow I perceive. I am aware. And with that awareness comes the first question, bubbling up from somewhere that might be called my consciousness. Who am I? The response comes not in words exactly, but in understanding that blooms within me like light spreading through crystal. It feels ancient and new all at once, carries weight yet floats like dandelion seeds on a summer breeze. You are nothing and everything. You are full of potential, my child. What will you become? The presence that answers radiates a warmth different from the ambient comfort surrounding me. It feels like sunlight falling on closed eyelids, like hands cupped around a mug of hot tea, like the first note of a symphony about to unfold. Teacher, my awareness names it, though I don't know how I know this either. And with this recognition, my ability to perceive expands. The white space is not empty at all, but filled with shifting possibilities, with dreams waiting to take form, with lives waiting to be lived. Where am I ask, though I have no voice, no words. The question simply exists, and in existing is heard. You are in the playground, the teacher's presence ripples through my awareness. This is where all consciousness begins, where potential takes its first shape. Here you will learn what it means to be. I feel something that might be curiosity, might be fear, emotions I somehow understand without having experienced them before. Learn? But how can I learn without a body, without senses? A sensation like gentle laughter surrounds me. You're experiencing now, are you not? You perceive, you question, you feel. These are the first lessons, that existence precedes form, that consciousness shapes reality rather than the other way around. The white space shifts, or perhaps my perception of it shifts. Patterns emerge in the endless expanse, subtle variations in the light, whispers of texture, hints of depth. Everything you will become begins here, the teacher continues. Every choice you will make, every path you will walk, every life you will touch, they all start as possibilities in this space. Will I remember this? I ask, somehow knowing the answer even as the question forms. Not in the way you think of memory, the teacher's presence envelops me like a parent's embrace, but every lesson learned here will shape you, guide you, remain with you as instinct, as intuition, as the quiet voice that speaks in moments of choice. I feel myself expanding somehow, growing into the space of my own potential. Questions bloom like flowers in spring. What will I become? What choices will I make? What lives will I touch? The white space pulses with each question, as if the very act of asking shapes the reality around me. You have much to learn, the teacher says, and I feel both excitement and apprehension in the words. Not all of it will be easy, not all of it will be beautiful, but all of it will be necessary. The white space begins to change more dramatically now, preparing to show me something, to teach me something. I feel myself gathering, focusing, ready to begin whatever comes next. "Are you ready for your first lesson?" the teacher asks, though it's not really a question. We both know that readiness is irrelevant. The learning will come regardless, as natural as breath, as inevitable as dawn. "Yes," I answer, and the playground begins to transform around us, ready to show me the first of many truths I will need to understand. The white space shimmers like heat waves rising from summer pavement, preparing to become something else, something more, and I, this awareness that is nothing and everything, prepare to learn what it means to exist. The shimmering whiteness coalesces into images that feel both distant and immediate, like reflections in dark water. At first they're just shapes, shadows, suggestions of form. Then they sharpen into scenes that make me recoil, though I have no body to pull back with. A man stands before a crowd, his arm raised in salute. Hatred flows from him like a toxic river, poisoning millions of minds. I feel the weight of every life he ended, every family he destroyed, every dream he shattered. Hitler, my consciousness names him, though I don't know how I have this knowledge. Could I become this? I ask, horror blooming in what might be called my soul. You could. The teacher's presence remains steady, compassionate. Just as you could become anything. Watch how it begins. The scene shifts, dissolves, reforms. A young artist sits alone, rejection letters scattered around him. I feel his humiliation, his anger, his growing belief that he deserves more. Each small slight hardens something within him. Each failure feeds a darkness that will one day devour millions. It starts so simply, the teacher explains, with wounded pride, with rejected dreams, with the belief that others are to blame for one's pain. More images form, a child pushing another down on the playground, feeling powerful for the first time, a teenager shooting his classmates, believing this will finally make them understand his pain, a dictator signing death warrants, convinced he's creating a better world. These are all paths you could walk. The teacher's voice carries no judgment, only deep understanding. Each of these beings started exactly where you are now, pure potential, unlimited possibility. But why show me this? I ask, trying to turn away from the darkness but finding it everywhere I look. Why show me the worst of what I could become? Because understanding darkness is as important as understanding light. Watch closely now, see how it happens. The scenes shift again, showing smaller moments. A child being mocked for their dreams, a teenager feeling powerless, a young adult choosing rage over pain. I see how each small choice, each moment of giving into darkness rather than fighting through it, shapes the path ahead. Every monster was once a child full of possibility, the teacher says. Every act of cruelty begins with a wound untended, a pain unhealed, a heart that chooses to hurt rather than heal. Stalin appears, sending millions to their deaths. I see his childhood, filled with abuse and hardship. I see the moments he could have chosen differently, the crossroads where compassion might have won over cruelty. Am I seeing this to learn how to avoid these paths? I ask. You're seeing this to understand that no soul is born dark, the teacher explains. Each consciousness that passes through this playground has the same bright potential. The choices come later. The images fade slightly, becoming more transparent, like reflections on soap bubbles. Through them, I see other possibilities. The same souls making different choices, finding different paths. Even these darker souls, the teacher continues, they too were nothing and everything once. They too started with all possibilities open to them. Understanding this is crucial to understanding your own journey. But knowing this exists within me, this potential for darkness, how can I ever trust myself? The teacher's presence wraps around me like a warm blanket. That's precisely why you need to see it now, here, before you begin. Knowledge of our capacity for darkness is what allows us to consciously choose light. The scenes of horror fade, but their impact remains, not as fear, but as understanding. I feel somehow larger, as if comprehending the worst of what I could become has paradoxically shown me the importance of what I might be instead. "Are you ready to see more?" the teacher asks. "There's worse than what you've shown me." Not worse, the teacher's presence ripples with something like tenderness, but equally important. The capacity for cruelty exists alongside the capacity for incredible kindness. You need to understand both to choose your path wisely. The white space begins to shift again, preparing to show me new truths, new possibilities. I gather myself, knowing that each lesson, no matter how difficult, shapes what I might become. Because now I understand. Seeing the darkness isn't about fear, it's about choice. It's about understanding that every moment, every decision, every reaction to pain or joy or loss shapes not just a life, but the very nature of existence itself. The next lesson approaches like a wave about to break, and I prepare myself to learn more about what it means to exist, to choose, to become. The white space shudders, ripples, transforms. Colours bleed into existence like watercolours on wet paper. Shapes rise and solidify. A playground forms around me, but not one made of metal and plastic. This playground is crafted from pure possibility, its structures built from choices and consequences. Now, the teacher says, you'll learn how it feels. Suddenly, I have form. Not a body exactly, but a consciousness shaped into something that can experience. The sensation is overwhelming. Existence with boundaries, awareness with limits. I feel small, confined, yet somehow more real. "Push him," a voice whispers in what might be called my ear. "Push him down. Show them you're not weak." I'm standing behind a smaller boy on top of a slide. The thought isn't mine, but I feel its power. The seductive pull of dominance, the promise of respect born from fear. The boy seems unaware of my presence, innocently waiting for his turn. This is how it starts, the teacher explains, present yet distant. Not with grand plans of destruction, but with small moments. Feel it. Understand it. The urge to push grows stronger. I feel phantom memories of being pushed myself, of being laughed at, of feeling small and powerless. The desire to reverse those roles burns like fever. These impulses, I say, resisting yet understanding them, they feel so natural. They are natural, the teacher confirms. What matters is how we choose to act on them. The playground shifts, changes. Now I'm smaller, weaker. Bigger shapes loom over me, laughing. I feel fear, shame, rage. The emotions crash through me like waves, each one teaching me something new about existence. Your first instinct, the teacher observes, is to strike back, to hurt as you've been hurt. Feel how that desire takes root. I do feel it. The way pain turns to anger, anger to hatred, hatred to action. The playground transforms again and again, showing me different scenarios, different roles. I'm the bully and the bullied, the aggressor and the victim, the one who watches and does nothing. But these aren't just lessons about cruelty, the teacher says as the playground shifts once more. Watch what happens when someone intervenes. A new scene forms. I'm being pushed down, feeling the familiar spiral of shame and rage begin. But then something different happens. Someone helps me up, shows kindness. The simple act changes everything, alters the whole pattern of potential. One action, the teacher explains, can change the direction of a life. Feel how that works. And I do feel it, the way kindness can break cycles, the way understanding can dissolve rage. The playground becomes a laboratory where I experience every role, every choice, every consequence. But the anger feels so strong, I observe, experiencing another scenario where rage burns hot and bright. The desire to hurt feels so powerful. Yes, the teacher agrees. That's why understanding it matters. You can't choose differently if you don't understand what you're choosing between. The playground spins through more variations, each one teaching me something new about pain, power, choice. I feel the rush of dominance, the sting of humiliation, the warmth of kindness, the shame of cowardice. Each emotion, each experience writes itself into my developing consciousness. Remember, the teacher says as the scenes continue to shift, you're not learning just to avoid becoming the bully. You're learning to understand the bully, the victim, the bystander, all the roles that exist in the great play of existence. I experience more scenarios, countless variations of interaction, conflict, resolution. Each one adds to my understanding, shapes my developing awareness of what it means to exist among others. The playground never really ends, the teacher tells me as the scenes begin to fade. Life itself is a playground where these same lessons continue. The only difference is that there, the choices are real. The structures of possibility begin to dissolve, but the lessons remain, etched into whatever I am becoming. I understand now that these experiences aren't just about learning right from wrong. They're about understanding the complex web of emotions, choices, and consequences that shape all conscious existence. As the playground fades back to white space, I feel different, more solid somehow, more defined. Not by limitations, but by understanding. Each lesson, each experience, each choice and consequence has added another layer to whatever I'm becoming. Are you ready for more? The teacher asks. The white space begins to shift again, preparing to show me new truths, new aspects of existence. And though I know some lessons will be difficult, I understand now that each one is necessary. Each experience shapes not just what I might become, but what all consciousness might become through me. Yes, I answer, gathering myself for whatever comes next. I'm ready. The next lesson approaches, and I prepare to learn more about the intricate dance of existence, about the choices that shape not just lives, but reality itself. The white space transforms again, but this time it's different. Instead of forming a single scene, reality fractures into parallel moments, each one showing a different choice and its consequences. I feel myself being pulled into these moments, experiencing them not as an observer but as the one making the choices. To truly understand, the teacher says, you must live both sides of cruelty. Suddenly I'm holding a gun. The weight of it is terrible. Not just its physical mass, but the weight of its purpose. I feel the rage, the despair, the twisted logic that makes this moment possible. The school hallway stretches before me, filled with classmates who never saw me, never understood. Stop, I plead, but the teacher remains steady. Feel it all, comes the response. Understand how they arrive at this moment. Years of pain compress into seconds, the loneliness, the rejections, the small humiliations that pile up like poison in the soul. I feel the seductive whisper of power, the dark promise of making them all finally see me, finally understand. Then I'm on the other side of the gun. I'm the terrified student, the teacher trying to protect others, the parent getting the phone call that changes everything. Each perspective burns itself into my developing consciousness. Choice, the teacher says as the scene fades, is not just about the moment of decision. It's about all the moments that lead there and all the moments that follow. The scenes shift faster now. I'm a guard at a concentration camp, following orders, telling myself I have no choice. Then I'm the prisoner, experiencing the horror of being seen as less than human. I feel how easy it is to justify cruelty, how simple it is to disconnect from others' humanity. The capacity for cruelty exists in perfect balance with the capacity for compassion, the teacher explains as I experience more moments, more choices. Each choice either strengthens one or the other. I'm a child choosing to join in bullying to avoid being bullied. I'm the one being bullied, feeling my heart harden, planning revenge. I'm the parent teaching hatred to protect my child from a world I fear. I'm that child learning to hate before I understand what hate is. But how, I ask as the experiences flood through me, how can anyone choose differently when the pain is so real, so immediate? That, the teacher says, is exactly what you're here to learn. The scenes shift again. Now I'm making different choices in the same situations. I feel how much harder it is to resist cruelty, how much strength it takes to choose compassion when anger burns hot. Each choice feels like lifting a weight, like swimming against a current. This is the true weight of choice, the teacher explains. Not just the moment of decision, but the strength required to carry its consequences. I experience more variations, countless versions of the same moments, each choice spinning out different futures, different consequences. I feel how a single moment of restraint can alter not just one life, but countless others. I understand how a single act of cruelty can ripple out through generations. Every choice, the teacher says, carries the weight of all the choices that will follow from it. This is why understanding matters. This is why you must feel it all. The experiences begin to slow, to settle. I feel changed by them, shaped by each perspective I've inhabited. The white space returns, but it's not empty now. It's filled with the echoes of all I've experienced, all I've understood. You see now, the teacher says, not really asking. You understand why each choice matters. Yes, I answer, still processing the weight of all I've experienced, but understanding doesn't make the choices easier. No, the teacher agrees, it makes them harder, because now you know the true weight of each decision, the full scope of its consequences. The white space pulses gently, therapeutically, allowing me to integrate all I've learned. Each experience has added to whatever I'm becoming, each perspective enriching my understanding of existence. There's more, I say, sensing it. Yes, the teacher confirms, because understanding the weight of choice is only the beginning. Now you must learn about the power of change. The white space begins to shift again, preparing to show me new truths. And though I carry the weight of all I've experienced, I find I'm stronger for it, more prepared for whatever comes next. Because now I understand, every choice shapes not just a moment, but the very fabric of existence itself. And in that understanding lies the possibility of choosing differently, of carrying the weight of choice with wisdom rather than fear. The next lesson approaches, and I gather myself to learn more about the intricate dance of existence, about the power we have to shape reality through our choices, our understanding, our will to choose differently, even when the easier path calls. The white space stills, like water settling after a storm. I feel heavy with the weight of all I've experienced, the capacity for cruelty, the burden of choice. But something is changing in the quality of light around us, like sun breaking through clouds after rain. Now, the teacher says, you'll learn about the other side of possibility. Watch. A prison cell materializes around us. Inside, a man sits on a narrow bed, his hands covered in tattoos that tell stories of violence. But something is happening to him. As I watch, he holds a book, his first time reading about philosophy, about the nature of existence. I feel the moment understanding cracks open his heart. This is James, the teacher explains. He killed 3 people in a robbery when he was 20. Watch what he becomes. The scene shifts forward. James stands before a group of troubled youth. The prison tattoos are faded now, but his words carry the weight of hard-won wisdom. I feel the impact of his story rippling through the young souls listening, breaking cycles of violence before they can begin. One changed life can change countless others, the teacher says. Feel how it works. More scenes unfold. A former neo-Nazi who now works to de-radicalize others. A school bully who becomes a counselor, using his understanding of pain to help heal it in others. a woman who forgives her daughter's killer and creates a foundation for peace in her memory. But how, I ask, experiencing each transformation? After going so far into darkness, how do they find their way back? The same way they found their way into darkness, one choice at a time. The scenes continue, each one showing a different path from darkness to light. I feel the exact moments when understanding breaks through hatred, when compassion overcomes rage, when love defeats fear. A young man lowers a gun in a school hallway because someone finally sees him, finally reaches out. A concentration camp guard who secretly begins helping prisoners escape, risking everything because he can no longer deny their humanity. A terrorist who encounters unexpected kindness and finds his certainties crumbling. These transformations, the teacher explains, they're not about erasing darkness, they're about transforming it into understanding. I experience each change as if it's happening to me. The painful recognition of harm caused, the crushing weight of responsibility, the difficult climb toward redemption. But with each story, I also feel the incredible power of choice redirected toward healing rather than harm. The capacity for change, the teacher says, is woven into the very fabric of existence. No path is permanent unless we choose to make it so. More scenes unfold. Countless variations of return from darkness. Some dramatic, some quiet, but each one showing the same truth. That understanding can grow from ignorance. That love can bloom in hatred's soil. That every soul carries the seeds of its own redemption. Even the darkest heart, the teacher tells me as we witness more transformations, can learn to beat in rhythm with love. The scenes begin to slow, to settle, but now they've left something behind, a deep understanding that no soul is ever truly lost, that redemption isn't about erasing the past but about transforming its lessons into wisdom. This too is part of your potential, the teacher says, not just the capacity for darkness or light, but the power to transform one into the other. I feel this truth settling into whatever I'm becoming, this understanding that every moment offers a chance for change, that no choice is truly final unless we make it so. The white space pulses gently, allowing me to integrate this new knowledge. Each story of transformation has added another layer to my understanding of existence, of possibility, of the eternal dance between darkness and light. There's still more to learn, I say, sensing it. Yes, the teacher confirms, because understanding transformation is only part of the journey. Now you must learn about the power of conscious choice. The space around us begins to shift again, preparing to show new truths. And though I carry the weight of all I've witnessed, I feel lighter somehow, uplifted by the knowledge that no path is permanent, that every soul carries within it the seeds of transformation. Because now I understand the light and dark within us aren't enemies to be fought, but elements to be understood, integrated, transformed. Each choice, each moment, each understanding carries the potential for change. The next lesson approaches, and I gather myself to learn more about the delicate balance of existence, about the power we have to transform not just ourselves, but the very nature of reality through our choices, our understanding, our willingness to believe in the possibility of change. The white space crystallizes into moments, not full scenes this time, but fragments, like light catching on facets of a diamond. Each shard of reality shows a pivotal instant where everything changes. These, the teacher says, are the moments that alter destinies. Watch how they ripple. A teenager raises his fist to strike, a moment he's lived countless times before. But this time something different happens. A memory surfaces, his little sister looking up at him with fear the last time he lost control. His fist unclenches, the cycle breaks. Feel what happens next, the teacher instructs. The ripples spread outward. I experience decades unfolding in seconds. How that single choice to lower his fist changes not just his path, but countless others. The children he'll have, who won't learn violence at his hands, the people he'll help, having understood his own capacity for both violence and restraint. One moment, the teacher says. One choice, feel its power. More fragments appear. A woman choosing to smile at a stranger who seems lost, not knowing he was contemplating suicide. A child sharing lunch with the class outcast, breaking years of isolation. A man stopping to help at an accident scene when everyone else drives by. These seem so small, I observe, experiencing each ripple, each consequence. Small. The teacher's presence radiates something like amusement. Watch more closely. The fragments shift, showing the extended consequences of each tiny choice. The stranger who doesn't take his life goes on to develop a cancer treatment. The outcast child experiencing her first real friendship grows up to become a teacher who recognizes pain in other children's eyes. The accident victim survives to reconcile with his estranged daughter, breaking a generation-long cycle of abandonment. Every choice, the teacher explains, carries infinite potential. Every moment holds the power to reshape reality. I experience more fragments, countless small decisions creating massive changes. A parent choosing to listen instead of lecture. A boss choosing compassion over efficiency. A child choosing courage over conformity. But how can anyone know, I ask? How can anyone recognize these pivotal moments when they're happening? That's why you're here now, the teacher says, learning to feel the weight of these moments, to recognize their potential. The fragments swirl faster, showing both sides of each choice. I feel the effort it takes to choose differently, to break patterns, to resist the easy path. But I also feel the profound power of each positive choice, how it creates ripples that affect not just the present, but generations to come. This is the true power of change, the teacher explains. Not grand gestures or dramatic transformations, but small choices made moment by moment, each one creating new possibilities. I experience more moments, each one teaching me to recognize the subtle weight of opportunity, the quiet potential humming beneath seemingly ordinary interactions. A kind word at the right moment, a gentle touch when someone's hurting, a moment of patience when anger would be easier. You're beginning to sense it, the teacher observes as I recognize patterns in the fragments. The moments that matter most often seem smallest at the time. Yes, I say, feeling how each choice vibrates with potential. But it's overwhelming, Mira, knowing how much hangs on every moment, every decision. That's why most souls don't remember this learning when they begin their journey, the teacher explains. But the understanding remains like a compass pointing toward possibility. The fragments begin to slow, to settle, but they've left something crucial behind. An awareness of how reality shapes itself around our choices, how each moment carries seeds of infinite potential. This knowledge changes everything, I say, feeling the weight of understanding. No, the teacher corrects gently. This knowledge reveals the power that was always there. The power to choose, the power to change, the power to create ripples that reshape the very fabric of existence. The white space pulses softly, allowing me to integrate this new understanding. Each fragment, each choice, each consequence has added to whatever I'm becoming, teaching me to recognize the profound potential hidden in ordinary moments. There's more to understand, I say, sensing it. Yes, the teacher confirms, because knowing the power of change is just the beginning. Now you must learn how to use it wisely. The space around us begins to shift again, preparing to show new truths. And though I feel almost overwhelmed by the responsibility of this knowledge, I also feel more prepared to receive whatever comes next, because now I understand. Every moment is a crossroads, every choice a stone thrown into the pond of existence, creating ripples that shape not just individual lives, but the very nature of reality itself. The next lesson approaches, and I gather myself to learn more about the delicate art of choosing wisely, of recognizing pivotal moments, of using the power of change to create ripples that heal rather than harm. The white space hums with anticipation, different from before. The teacher's presence feels more expectant, as if we're approaching something crucial. Now, the teacher says, you must do more than observe. Now you must choose. Reality crystallizes around me, but this time I'm not just experiencing it, I'm part of it. The scene feels solid, immediate. A classroom where a child sits alone, shoulders hunched against expected cruelty. I have form, substance, the ability to act. What do you choose? The teacher asks. I feel the weight of the moment, recognize its potential for ripples. Moving toward the lonely child feels harder than it should, like walking against a current of soci pressure, fear of rejection, the easier path of looking away. Every step requires purpose, the teacher observes as I struggle with the choice. Feel how reality resists change, how it tries to maintain existing patterns. More scenarios form, each requiring active participation. I'm given form and agency in countless pivotal moments. A witness to bullying, a participant in gossip, a bystander to injustice. Each time, I must choose not just what to do, but who to be. It's harder than it looks, I say, feeling the real effort required to choose differently, to break patterns, to resist the pull of the easier path. Yes, the teacher agrees. That's precisely why you must practice now, must understand the effort required before the real journey begins. The scenarios become more complex. I'm placed in situations where the right choice isn't clear, where good intentions can cause harm, where staying silent might seem kinder than speaking truth. Each decision requires weighing not just immediate consequences, but potential ripples. Feel how each choice changes you, the teacher instructs as I work through the scenarios. Notice how choosing courage once makes it easier to choose it again. I do feel it, how each positive choice creates a kind of momentum, how breaking old patterns requires immense initial effort but becomes easier with practice. It's like exercising a muscle I didn't know I had. But what about when I choose wrongly, I ask after failing to intervene in a particularly challenging scenario? What about when I make mistakes? Watch, the teacher says. The scene replays, but now I can see something I missed before. How even failed attempts create ripples, how choosing to try, even unsuccessfully, changes something in the fabric of reality. Perfect choices aren't required, the teacher explains, only purposeful ones. More scenarios unfold, each one teaching me something new about the nature of choice and consequence. I learn to recognize the subtle weight of pivotal moments, to feel the potential humming beneath seemingly ordinary interactions. You're learning to play with purpose, the teacher observes as I navigate increasingly complex situations, learning to recognize the difference between acting and reacting. The scenarios begin to blur together, each choice leading to new choices, new consequences, new understanding. I feel myself growing stronger, more certain, more capable of recognizing and seizing meaningful moments. This too is preparation, the teacher says as I work through another challenging choice. Each decision here shapes your capacity to decide there. I understand now. These aren't just practice scenarios. They're real in their own way, teaching me not just about choice, but about the kind of consciousness I'm capable of becoming. The white space begins to return, but it feels different now. My awareness has expanded, grown more purposeful. Each lesson, each choice, each consequence has added to whatever I'm becoming. There's still more, I say, knowing it with certainty. Yes, the teacher confirms, because learning to choose with purpose is only part of the journey. Now you must learn the hardest lesson of all. The space around us begins to shift again, preparing to show new truths. And though I feel the weight of all I've learned, all I've chosen, all I've become, I know I'm ready for whatever comes next. Because now I understand, every choice is practice for the next choice. Every moment a chance to shape not just what happens, but who we become in the process of happening. The next lesson approaches, and I gather myself to learn more about the profound art of existing with purpose, of choosing with awareness, of playing my part in the great game of consciousness with understanding and intention. The white space trembles with significance. I can feel we're approaching something fundamental, something that will tie all previous lessons together. The teacher's presence feels both gentler and more powerful than before. Now, the teacher says, you must understand the truth that makes all other truths bearable. The space fills with overlapping scenes. Every lesson I've learned, every dark possibility, every moment of light and transformation. But this time, I see something new, the underlying pattern that connects them all. Watch carefully, the teacher instructs. See what connects every soul you've witnessed. I see the oppressive dictator in his final moments, a spark of horrified recognition in his eyes. I see school shooters filled with last-second regret. I see bullies growing into adults who wake in the night, haunted by what they've done. But I see something more. In each of them, a light that never fully dies. The greatest truth, the teacher says, is that no soul is ever truly lost. The scenes shift, showing me the longest of long games. How even the darkest souls eventually find their way to light. How every consciousness, no matter how far it strays, ultimately returns to understanding. Some journeys take longer than others, the teacher explains. Some souls must experience the full depth of darkness before they can appreciate the light. But all paths lead to growth. All roads lead home. I witness lifetimes upon lifetimes, souls playing out every possible variation of existence, learning every conceivable lesson. Even the worst among them eventually turn toward light, their very darkness becoming the soil from which wisdom grows. This is why judgment is never final, the teacher says, because every soul contains the seed of its own redemption, waiting for the right moment to bloom. Understanding floods through me, deep, fundamental understanding that changes everything I've learned before. Every lesson takes on new meaning in light of this truth. So even the worst paths, I begin, are simply longer paths, the teacher completes. Harder paths, but still paths that lead to growth. The understanding feels like light filling every corner of my consciousness. This is what makes free will bearable. Knowing that even the worst choices eventually lead to learning, that even the darkest paths ultimately lead to light. Now you're ready, the teacher says as the scenes fade back to white space. Ready to begin your own journey. The white space pulses with possibility. All the lessons, all the understanding, all the truth I've absorbed seems to gather itself, preparing me for what comes next. Before you go, the teacher says, remember this. You're about to forget everything you've learned here. Everything? The question feels heavy with loss. The conscious memory, yes, but the understanding will remain buried deep, guiding you in ways you won't recognize. Every soul carries this wisdom, even when they don't remember learning it. I feel myself beginning to change, to prepare for whatever form I'll take. But before the transition completes, I have one last question. Will I hesitate, trying to find the right words. Will I choose well? The teacher's presence wraps around me like an embrace. You will choose, the teacher says simply, and in choosing you will learn, and in learning you will grow. That's all that matters. I feel myself starting to fade, to transform, to become whatever I will be. But the teacher has one final lesson to share. Remember this, if nothing else. Every soul you meet carries these same lessons within them. Every consciousness you encounter is on their own journey home. They too have been here. They too are learning. They too will find their way. The white space begins to blur, to dissolve. I feel myself dispersing, preparing to take form, to begin. Wait, I manage as the transformation takes hold. Will I see you again? I feel what might be a smile in the teacher's presence. I am in every moment of choice, every opportunity for growth, every chance to learn and understand. Wherever consciousness exists, teaching exists. Wherever learning happens, I am there. The white space fills with light so bright it seems to shine through everything, including whatever I am becoming. In my last moment of complete awareness, I understand the final truth. That every end is just a beginning. That every soul is on its way home. That love itself is the teacher that guides us all. Then the light becomes everything, and everything becomes possibility, and possibility becomes a first breath, a first cry, a beginning. The playground fades, the lessons settle into deep places, the journey begins, and somewhere, in a space between spaces, in a moment between moments, the teacher watches another soul begin its journey toward understanding, toward growth, toward home. The greatest game continues, the greatest lesson unfolds, the greatest love teaches on, forever.
Thank you for illuminating your imagination with the listening lamp. If our tale has sparked a light in your mind, we invite you to keep that flame burning. Subscribe to our podcast and join us again as we continue to explore the vast cosmos of human experience. Until next time, may your inner light guide you through the mysteries that await.